Welcome to my newest camera comparison, including the Sony Mark 6 and the Huawei Pura 70 Ultra. Unfortunately, I could not test the phones the way I wanted to do. Some of you might have seen my community post. I had actually some trips planned and I talked about this already in the previous video. So now I just do the normal style video. Fortunately, I can just make one video with the Xperia for now. It will get more content to the Huawei in the future, hopefully. So without any more talking, let's just jump right in. When taking selfies, the Huawei Pura 70 Ultra offers a distinct advantage in terms of field of view. It provides three options: 0.8x, which is a default, ultra wide and 1x, while the Sony, like most phones, offers only one option. In portrait mode for selfies, both phones can activate the typical artificial bokeh effect. However, this feature is unavailable on the Huawei when using the ultra-wide or 0.8x option. Overall, the Sony selfies were more appealing, appearing sharper and more vibrant. The Xperia's bokeh effect is also superior, with nearly flawless background separation, while the Huawei struggles in this aspect. Let's take some pictures where we will use the different lenses, starting with the ultra-wide. Both phones feature, of course, telephoto lenses. The Huawei offers a 3.5x optical zoom, while the Xperia Mark 6 provides optical zoom between 3.5x and 7.1x. Beyond these ranges, both phones rely on digital zoom. The ultra-wide shots reflect similar results to the selfies, with the Xperia producing more vivid colors. Using the 3.5x zoom here, the Sony is actually more detailed. Comparing Sony's 7.1 optical zoom to the Pura's 7.1x digital zoom, there really isn't any huge quality difference. At 10x, the Huawei's image appears to be sharper. As we zoom further, the Huawei's advantage becomes more clear. This 10x shot clearly goes to the Chinese powerhouse. You can definitely read both signs, but the Xperia is quite blurry at this point, now as shot at 21.3x. While this number might look random to you, it is actually the highest zoom level we can get on the Mark 6. Either way, another clear win for the Huawei, which can again get up to 100x, and if you want to read a sign in the distance, it gets the job done quite well. One thing I like about both phones is the fact that they are both staying pretty consistent in their colors throughout the pictures. I tested phones in the past where the colors of the ultra-wide were way more saturated than those taken with a zoom lens, for example. On this house wall, we can see once again that the Huawei is overall stronger with its zoom, especially when using the telelens and entering the digital zoom levels. Both phones have good macro capabilities, with the Huawei even adding a dedicated mode. Overall, the macros of the Sony impressed me quite some more. You can get closer to the subject without losing quality. here a little demo how the macro mode works on the Xperia 1 Mark 6. It's a bright, sunny summer morning. I have both phones with me recording with the front-facing cameras in 4K with 30 frames per second. The Huawei Pura 70 Ultra defaults to 0.8x if you shoot with the front-facing cameras. On the Xperia you can't change anything. We can zoom in to use the main lens on the Huawei and go back to 0.8x. We even go out wider. You see we have a really nice viewing field here now, which is really good for vlogging. So you have a lot more to show on your videos. The Xperia 1 Mark 5 has high quality stabilization on by default when you're shooting in 4K with 30 frames per second. You can activate a steady shot on the Huawei manually. It's an extra mode, and to use this mode you can just shoot in 1080p. So now I have 1080p and 30 frames per second with this steady mode on for the Huawei, and I have the high quality on the Xperia on, shooting in 4K with 30 frames per second. So now let's get a little jog in here and see if the dedicated mode of the Huawei does a better job than what Sony has to offer. So now let's test the zooming and the lens switching from both phones, starting with the Xperia with this 0.7x ultra wide. We'll go to 1x, 2x, 3.5, 7.1, which on screen is a wider furthest we can zoom in. We can zoom in further to 21.3. The ultra wide. Now on the Huawei 1x, 2x, 4x, and 10x, and then we can zoom further to 15x. So on video the Xperia can zoom in further. But I'm not a big fan on the way it zooms in and out. It looks very laggy actually. We go from the ultra wide up to the 7.1 and going down to the ultra wide. If we are on the ultra wide on the Huawei, going all the way to the 10x, it looks way smoother here. Taking photos at night can be sometimes challenging, because some phones struggle here more than others. Huawei was actually the first one to include a dedicated night mode in one of the phones in the past, so of course the Pura 70 Ultra does have one itself. The Xperia doesn't have a dedicated mode, but it decides to automatically activate it when it feels the need. I will start with the auto mode, and both phones struggle with ultra wide night shots. At 1x the Huawei shows clear improvement, with the gap widening as zoom increases. By 10x the Sony falls significantly behind. Selfies are looking better on the Xperia here as well. Even though the Xperia has more noise in the picture, the overall quality is superior. The Huawei is going in the direction of an oil painting. We'll zoom in on that mailbox down there. The first observation is that the Huawei is producing the overall brighter image. This shot with the main lens shows how the Pura 70 Ultra brightens areas of the building which are almost completely dark on the Xperia. While this doesn't necessarily make the Sony shot bad, as it often captures the scenes more true to life. The Huawei generally offers more clarity and details in low light conditions. With the night mode enabled, the Huawei of course takes longer time to capture the pictures, which results in even brighter images. At 3.5x, the Huawei's picture is just way more detailed. Now we're zooming in on the hotel sign. Over there, ultra-wide having bad quality is some kind of a theme here. The shot with the main lens looks really always that much better. As we zoom in further, we can see how the Xperia is struggling with the light sign. The shot of the Pura 70 Ultra is also not perfect, but at least you can make out the text on the lower part of the light sign, while you don't even know that there is written anything at all on the Xperia 1 Mark 6. These ultra-wide shots are not great from both, but this shot with the main lens shows the advantage of the night mode when we look at the sky. While it is very dark on the Xperia, we get the cloudy sky and even some stars on the Huawei. At 3.5x, the extra brightness in the image is again quite apparent. And again, this doesn't make the shot from the Sony bad, since it's also a matter of taste. I'm not the biggest fan of night shots that look like they were taken at day, but the night mode also adds more clarity and details in comparison. Again, a clear win for the Pura 70 Ultra with the main lens. The picture has more details, clarity, and all of this without making the picture look overblown. That's how I like my low-light photos. Zooming in here is creating a way too big gap between the two phones. The ultrawide isn't producing the best pictures from both devices once again. The main lens is the weapon of choice for both phones when it comes to low light pictures. And just like before, the Pura manages to capture the stars, creating a more pleasing shot. And unfortunately, again, we have to witness the Xperia's struggle with zooming at night. But when there's enough light around, it holds up quite well. This ultra-wide shot is actually better looking on the Sony. Both 1x shots are generally good, but the Huawei is managing the light mode way better, making parts of it at least readable. At 3.5x this gets better, and the following zoomed shots are quite close actually, but still with the Huawei in front. Once more we will zoom in on this building here now. This time around the ultra wide shots are okay because this building is well lit, but zooming in further shows the same things we observed before. Good mainland shots, and while we're zooming in, the Huawei has the advantage over the Xperia. Now let's take some portraits at night using the bokeh mode on the Xperia again here, and the difference is really huge at night. Especially when we're using the optical lenses 3.5x, the Xperia is really producing an awful picture, which is not useful at all. I'm recording on 4K with 30 frames per second. As you can see, it's bad outside. The preview of the Xperia 1 Mark 6, I actually can't find out anything of myself. A little bit on the Pura 70 Ultra. Working under the light. It's not really that much better on the Xperia. Also not great on the Huawei, but still much better. So now there's more light here, and you can see really way better on the Huawei. So you can see this that the view field is way brighter on the Huawei. Now the Huawei is also on 1x, we have the 0.8x option, and you can go even out further, which I was using back there already. So you have for vlogging way bigger field of view on the Pura 70 Ultra, and also the overall image is brighter. So in the end, the video on the Huawei was not as good as I was perceiving it, judging by what I've seen on the front-facing cameras. The picture indeed is a bit brighter, but the quality overall is much worse compared to what the Xperia 1 Mark 6 has to offer. So what you heard before was just my live observations, but after seeing the footage here at home, it is really a big difference in favor of the Sony Xperia 1 Mark 6. Shooting in 4K 30 frames per second with the main lenses of both phones. The picture looks a bit brighter again on the Huawei Pura 70 Ultra. Color seems to be a little bit more accurate also on the Xperia this time around. This is actually, judging by what's on the screen, a bit in the middle. It's not really red and not really orange, but the tendency goes to orange here. I'm filming in 4K using the ultra wide lenses, 30 frames per second. Let's move up to the main lens. Over the phone, have me on the main lenses here. And that's it for my camera comparison between the Huawei Pura 70 Ultra and the Xperia 1 Mark 6. I think at day both phones are quite close. When it comes to zooming, the Huawei has the edge, even though the Xperia has a 3.5x to 7.1x optical zoom, but this advantage was not really obvious, especially when the Huawei is entering the digital zoom areas above 10x. There's not any competition anymore. The colors on the Xperia were looking most of the time more pleasing, more beautiful, you can say, even though the reality is mostly a bit in between of both. When it comes to night videos and photos, using the ultrawide resulted often in very bad pictures on both phones. While using the night mode on the Huawei, we got some better quality shots. We had the pictures where we see the stars and everything. So if you want to use the Huawei at night, the night mode is really a good option. But for both phones, if you want to take pictures at night, use the main lens. The ultrawide is not really useful, and zooming is also coming with issues, and the portraits also are looking better on the Huawei at night, but at day I thought that the Xperia is doing a really good job with the bokeh mode as well. So what do you think in the end about both of these phones? Both they cost around 1,500 euros. Would you be willing to pay that much for one of either phones? As I said before, unfortunately I will not be able to test this Xperia 1 Mark 6 that soon again, but maybe in the future. If you're interested, let me know in the comments. I have another video about the Pura 70 Ultra coming out very soon. Hope you like this video. Leave a thumbs up. A sub would mean a lot to me, and I will see you in the next one.